The longer I've waited, the more that I've tried. All the years that I've wasted trying to find it. All that I go through for my peace of mind. Let it all go out the window. No smoke in my eyes. I can hear the wind chiming. It's always been in the back of my mind. Early blue morning, everything's cold. I see you running, all covered in gold. There's nothing else that eases my soul. I let it all go out the window. No smoke in my eyes. I can hear the wind chiming. It's always been you in the back of my mind. When there are others, I do the routine. I dance all along it. I try to be seen. Then there's the feeling, you know what I mean. I let it all go out the window. No smoke in my eyes. I can hear the wind chiming. It's always been you in the back of my mind. Let it all go out the window. No smoke in my eyes. I can hear the wind chiming. It's always been you in the back of my mind. It's always been you in the back of my mind.
Seems like forever since we've been together. Oh God, I miss you. And I read your letters, look at your pictures. Oh God, I miss you so bad. It's been so long, I know that I'm finally coming home. Till then I'm dreaming of your heart, your eyes, our love. Darling, I can't wait till I see your face. Oh God, I miss you bad. The only thing I need is you beside me. Oh God, I miss you so bad. It's been so long, I know, but I'm finally coming home. Till then I'm dreaming of your heart, your eyes, our love. Your heart, your eyes, our love. It's been so long, I know that I'm finally coming home. Till then I'm dreaming of your heart, your eyes, our love. Your heart, your eyes, our love.
I think I'm on to a new melody. It's not a mix of soul, but talking open wounds. Heavy breathing and overeating. It suddenly left me talking to myself after a bottle of wine. It's like a night in heavy spirit. I am you and you are me. How is that not? But I don't wanna sit just to sit. But my healer told me, you know, the world will unfold just like that. It's a fact. And we can be foolish for too long. I think I've written every song. Soon, from here on to the moon, I run, run, run to overcome and be done with a little change. Secrets in the west stick to my body like glue. Or what would I do if that wasn't the case? Knowing we're living is such a blessing, I know. But I don't wanna spend just to own stuff. But this way, it's never enough. And I've learned when I have less, it eases this damn stress. And we to the moon. I run, run, run to overcome and be done. Oh, let ever change. Oh, let ever change.
Oh, the lilac snow drifting down so soft and slow outside my window. I watch it go. Oh, the lilac snow. Though the world may seem so still, it's coming in a distant chill with the memories of winters past, of the ones I wish would have lasted. Oh, the lilac snow tells secrets of long ago, of carols sung, of gifts we know. Oh, the lilac snow whispers softly on the wind as memories come flowing in. Once the candles on the tree glow, softly lighting up the lilac snow. Then the quiet of the winter night was filled with wonder and pure delight. Oh, the lilac snow tells secrets of long ago, of carols sung, of gifts we've known. Oh, the lilac snow whispers softly on the wind as memories come flowing in, as the lilac snow falls alone.
Through the arbor, in the garden room, wings are beating, baby, me and you. Pencil drawing phases of the moon, all through the stages, both becoming seen into.
I don't.
Slowly we take on vivid in the bone, phosphorescent. In the heavens, a billion signals move, call and answer, dogs and pairs of two by two. Slowly we take on phosphorescent, vivid in the bone, phosphorescent.
Mandi. Bravo.
Vuoi?
Midnight halos, twist.